So, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise is obviously Sega's biggest IP ever. It's still very popular to this day, and it's worth millions of dollars. We had three successful movies come out between 2020 and now, and and honestly, I feel like the series has had like many different characters. Some of them are still noticeable and have stuck around. Others kind of just faded away in obscurity. But one of the characters that did stay around from, I guess, the beginning and is still uniquely popular in this day and age is Knuckles the Echidna, who made his video game debut back in, I want to say, 1994 when Sonic 3 came out. And initially, he was an antagonist, who basically fought against Sonic and Knuckles because of a misunderstanding. He was obviously tricked by Robotnik and I don't know, Robotnik or Eggman, whatever you want to call him, manipulated him. And once he found out he was a liar, he ended up helping Sonic, and I guess he's been enemies with Eggman ever since. But I feel like when Knuckles was initially introduced, he was really, really popular. I feel like that may have been like the peak of his popularity because at that time he was an antagonist who had become neutral for the most part. And I think throughout like the 90s or what have you, he remained mostly neutral. He was like neutral good. And then over time, I feel like I don't know, his character just got watered down or he just wasn't made out to be as much of a big deal. I mean, I remember when Sonic Adventure 2 came out back in 2001, he had the best soundtrack. Like his stages all had like bangers in terms of soundtracks. And I remember in like Sonic X he was kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say like, I mean, he was like very serious, but I guess when it came to Rouge the Bat, I wouldn't say they made him a cuck, but I don't know. He took way more crap from her than he should have. I feel like the whole dynamic between him and Rouge the Bat, it was going somewhere, and then it kind of just, it didn't go anywhere because I think Rouge the Bat as a character really, I'm not saying she didn't catch on with like, casuals or anything, but I feel like Sega just didn't know what to do with her. And over time, the direction for her character got lost and people forgot about her. And then after 2000s, I feel like Knuckles' character has just been made to be that of a big goofball, especially like in Sonic Boom, the television series. I mean, he's just a big idiot, and whether he does it on purpose or not, I feel like is a huge step down from how he was portrayed back in the 90s. And don't get me wrong, I mean, he's still entertaining and he's one of the best parts about some of the more recent, like, Sonic television shows. But I don't know, I feel like his character evolution kind of went backwards and he's just a big, meathead for the most part. And I guess it works when he's with the rest of the gang, Sonic, Tails, and Amy, because like, it works because I think it's comic humor and it's something that, it adds to whatever, like, show or video game he's in, but, um but yeah, I mean, I don't know why Sega decided to go that direction with Knuckles. I feel like, much more could have been done with him as just a neutral character. He could have been a little bit more complex, and he could have been, I don't know, he could have been way cooler than he is now, but I think I think for the most part, like after Knuckles, like Shadow kind of became like the new Knuckles, but I feel like Sega was doing really well with him up until they released a Shadow the Hedgehog game back in 2005. And then people lost interest in him and his character and all that other stuff. And then, we got the Sonic 3 movie recently, and then we got the Sonic, um, you know, the Sonic Shadow Generations game that came out back in 2024 and actually did pretty good. So a lot of people are interested in Shadow the Hedgehog again. So I feel like, Sega is definitely doing the right thing with Shadow for the most part. As far as Knuckles is concerned, I don't think he's as big as he used to be, despite the fact that he played a major role in the Sonic 2 movie. Um, I feel like, his character could have been handled a lot better than it was back in the day, and even now to some extent. I remember at one point, he used to have, like, a cowboy getup back in, like, the, mid-90s. I'm not exactly sure what Sega was going for, like, back in the day, and I think that was with, like, the older comic books and with the Sonic OVA. But yeah, it just like Knuckles' character direction for the most part has just been like whatever. It's kind of been all over the place, and I don't know. I feel like they made him like way too one dimensional over time. Maybe it's because it's something that people really don't care about because they're more focused on Sonic and Shadow and Eggman and other characters and what the plot is and what games they're in and what the theme is and stuff like that. And I think it's probably to a point where all that stuff doesn't even matter anymore. I feel like along as like the character direction of Sonic or anyone doesn't get messed up in a major way to a point where it's irredeemable, I don't think it's going to have a negative effect on any of the Sonic games or movies or anything like that. And back in the 2000s, that kind of was the case with Sonic the Hedgehog, because I feel like after Sonic Adventure 2, it seems like Sega kind of just lost its way, or it really had no core identity or anything like that. It was just Sonic, being involved in various different gimmicks, and whether he's a werewolf or whether he's a knight or what have you. He was just involved in various different gimmicks to a point where people are like, okay, this just reeks of desperation and whatever. But but yeah, I mean, one can argue that Sega almost ruined Sonic, back in the 2000s, especially with the Sonic '06 game. A lot of people said that game was horrendous, and I honestly feel like it took many, many years for Sonic the Hedgehog to truly recover from that. And as far as Knuckles as a character is concerned, I don't think he has been like ruined beyond redemption, because I still feel like he's a big deal. Casuals know who he is. People are still interested in Knuckles, but yeah, it's not the same character that we got, back in like 1994 when he was introduced. And some people might feel like that's a shame or what have you, but I feel like as long as people are still interested in Sonic or Knuckles, as characters, I feel like that's all that matters. As long as Sega's still making money and they're still doing everything to maintain their appeal with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, that's all that really matters in the end.